let's kick this off. I like to kick things off with the video. One of the things I found out about most people, they have these perceptions of Boeing that we just build airplanes, but it's a lot broader than just building airplanes. I'm working in the Boeing's South Carolina facility in North Charleston, South Carolina, which is right next to Charleston, South Carolina. So let's kick this off with this nice little video.
Ignition sequence start. 10, 9, guidance is internal. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
One of the reasons I like to start that video, it gives you just a little snapshot of the vastness of our company. And that's just a snapshot of what we do in South Carolina. This is a little bit about me. As I said, my name is Frank Hatten. I'm actually a program manager in our global engagement organization. I have oversight for all of our K through 12 engagements for the state of South Carolina. So anything in that space involving school kids or the community that involves that community, I have oversight for all of our programming. So I'm listed as an education relations specialist, but my background is basically a program manager. I'm not originally from the South Carolina area. I was born and raised in a small community in Alabama called Tuskegee. It's a small rural community, about 10,000 people. From a logistics standpoint, it's about 30 minutes outside of Montgomery, Alabama, the state capital, about 15 minutes outside of Auburn, where Auburn University is located. It's sort of smack dab in the middle. Married. My wife is from South Carolina. We met in grad school. I have 2 sons. Both our sons went to Tuskegee also. So they're the 3rd generation of my family to attend Tuskegee University. From an education standpoint, you see I have a few degrees. All my degrees are in business or in program management. My 2 undergraduate degrees are in business administration and business management. And the degree at George Washington University, that's a master's degree in project management. I am a certified PMP, certified project manager, and have about 40 to 45 years of corporate experience. I'm also retired. My first career was with IBM. Started working with IBM after my sophomore year in college as an intern, and was fortunate enough to meet a gentleman there who became my mentor and worked with me to help get scholarships so IBM could help me pay for school. And I ended up interning with them the next 2 years and had a job waiting for me when I walked out. My career with IBM allowed me to travel around the country in different parts of the world. I ended up my career with IBM being stationed in Charleston, working out of my house and traveling as a program manager for our point of sale division. So if you ever go into a Walmart or a Sam's, you see the cash registers. I was over the team that got those cash registers, the IT portion of those cash registers in Walmarts and Sam's around the world. So I knew Walmart from the time they started back in Arkansas till they started blowing up. And then transition out because I was a little bit burnt out of corporate America. And I actually wanted to be a teacher. But believe it or not, when I retired from IBM, there weren't too many openings for people who had a business background to go into the public school systems. I was told I had a STEM-based degree in math or science. I could walk out and walk into any school in the state of South Carolina and get an opportunity. But with all my experience, all my degrees, and all my willingness to get a job in education, they weren't looking for anybody with math background. So I turned to Boeing. I had heard that they were in the area, so I told myself, well, let me find something to do while I'm trying to figure out what I'll do with my life. I actually went back to school. I went to the local technical college. That's why you see Trident Technical College right there. And I retrained myself to be an aircraft mechanic. I had never worked with my hands before, by the way. I had always been in management. So my first job at Boeing was as an aircraft mechanic building airplanes. I never told anybody I worked for IBM. I didn't even tell anybody I had a college degree. I started there on the production floor, building airplanes, turning wrenches, drilling holes, putting in fasteners. That was my introduction to the world of aerospace and the world of Boeing. Because of my background in project management, one of the things that I started doing, I would rewrite their processes because most of their processes I thought weren't very robust. And because I was accustomed to working more than an 8-hour job, I would just hang around after I got off work and break into their computers and rewrite things. Did that for about 6 months, and then I said, let me go talk to somebody about how we're building our plane from a process standpoint, not an actual build standpoint, just a process, and see if I can help them out. Because a company like Boeing have open door policies, I was able to get a meeting with our then vice president of our Charleston facility, and we talked about what they were doing, and I shared my background. Before I left that meeting, he offered me a job to run his business office, which I had one stipulation as far as whether I would take the job or not. I say I take the job as long as I don't have to travel. I traveled so much at IBM, I didn't want to travel anymore in that part of my life. Plus my sons were hitting that middle school, high school stage, and I figured I need to be there for my sons versus having my wife trying to manage two young, very energetic young men. So I accepted a job as a program manager for our Boeing South Carolina business office and managed all of our inbound statement work for all our partners that brought parts into our facility from around the world. So basically I negotiated contracts with customers and suppliers from all over the world before we could accept their parts that they were sending in for us and were building for us. I did that for about 3 to 4 years. And then I got an opportunity that I thought was built for me. I got an opportunity to develop a program or outreach for our facility. The way I got that job was kind of interesting. I had always had this passion for volunteering. So I was that guy at IBM that always asked people, let's go down to Habitat for Humanity and help build houses. Let's go down to the soup kitchen and let's feed the homeless. Let's go to the schools and read to the kids. I was that guy. And when I couldn't get people to do it, I just do it by myself. So I developed a reputation around the community as that person who would come in and just help out, regardless of what the need was. So when Boeing wanted to develop an outreach program to teach young people in the South Carolina corridor about aerospace and advanced manufacturing, they called upon me to see if I'd be interested in helping develop the program. And once again, my only stipulation, I don't want to travel. So I took that job, and they asked me to develop an outreach program for South Carolina. The mission of that program was to engage the community, to teach them about not just Boeing, but about this thing called aerospace advanced manufacturing and STEM, which we found out that so many people in that corridor just didn't have the breadth of knowledge of. And we were having some very difficult times hiring people from South Carolina that had skill sets that we could bring into our facilities to take our jobs. These are entry-level jobs that just require a high school diploma, but also require you to have some basic skill sets like math skill sets, science skill sets, reading comprehension skill sets, those skill sets you automatically get as you study STEM-based disciplines. So I developed the program from scratch that we're going to talk about in a minute. The other component that I like to share with people about what I do is the volunteer piece, my hobbies. It's surprising that at this stage of my life, and I'm in my 60s, that I'm getting paid to do what I would do for free, what I do for fun. I'm heavy into volunteering. I'm an Eagle Scout. Both my sons are Eagle Scouts. I've been in scouting since I was, 6 years old. And through scouting, my sons are both certified scuba divers, certified sailors, and they learned to fly airplanes at summer camps in Tuskegee. And they did all that before they got out of high school. You see the photos of my family at the bottom. The picture in the middle, that's sort of what I look like most of the time, as I have to go around the state and talk to people quite a bit. And some other pictures are pictures of me talking to kids at after-school programs and gymnasiums and things like that. So that's a little bit about my background as far as where I came from and how I got to Boeing. Now, a little bit about Boeing, just in case you don't know a whole lot about the company, before I get into some stuff about our programming. Boeing is over 100 years old. Most people don't realize that. Founded in 1916 by Mr. William Boeing. That's him right there with holding the bag in front of us. It is the largest aerospace company in the world if you look at our major components. The commercial side, most people are familiar with that because if you fly on airplanes, that's our commercial division. Most people are familiar with our defense division because they see we have fighter jets and things like that. But people aren't as familiar with our space division. That's been working with NASA since the conception of NASA. Every time there's been a space launch, there's been a Boeing component associated with that space launch. And most people aren't familiar with our satellite division. Our satellite division is the second largest satellite producer in the world. And our global services division is a division that works to fix the parts and the things that we sell to the world. So 4 very distinct positions and divisions that make us the largest aerospace company in the world. We presently have about 165,000 employees worldwide. And in the Charleston facility where I work in North Charleston, we have about 6,500 employees. We're the 3rd largest employer in our region. And we've only been in South Carolina for right around 11 years now. So we have a pretty strong footprint and strong presence in North Charleston right now. So with that, let's talk about my program. The name of the program is called Dream Learners. Why do we call the program Dream Learners? Well, in Boeing, South Carolina, we have an airplane that we build called the Boeing 787 Dreamliner. So it's a play off the name of the airplane. So Dream Learners, Dreamliners. As I said, when we first developed the program, it was mainly developed to get the community a better understanding of what we were doing in South Carolina from a Boeing standpoint. We talked more aerospace, we talked more about legacy Boeing and things like that. But as we developed the program over the years, we changed the footprint of the program and changed what we're trying to do and made it more of a STEM-based program with a mission to inspire more youth to consider going into STEM-based careers. So we talked just as much about Google or Amazon or BMW or Volvo, and all these companies are in South Carolina as we do about Boeing, because STEM is STEM no matter what you do. And most students and most parents in the community that we serve don't realize how much STEM they're involved with on a day-to-day basis. They assume that if you're not an engineer or an IT professional or something like that, you're not doing STEM. They don't realize the day-to-day things they're doing in STEM. And once you break it down to that basic level, it begins to open up doors that a lot of people don't realize they can step through. And our programming starts in kindergarten. A lot of people told us that was too early, but if you look at statistics, if you're not involved in these things by the 3rd grade, you're usually behind the 8 ball a little bit. So all of our programming starts in the 3rd grade. When I say programming, our programming involves an on-site program and a program where we actually go into the community. Since COVID hit in March of last year, we converted our entire program to a virtual program. So everything we do is virtual. So we can basically do our program with anybody in the world if we chose to. But for right now, our target audience is the South Carolina corridor. So we primarily just support the South Carolina corridor unless our Boeing facilities around the country ask us to assist them also. We base our programming on our Boeing resources. And this is something that you guys might want to investigate. Our Boeing Future You and Curiosity Machine resources are free STEM-based resources that are grade level specific, that are approved to national standards that anybody can go and access. It has step-by-step STEM-based activities that anybody can do in the classroom or they can do at home. We use those activities and those programs to work with the community and work with students and educators to introduce STEM to them. And it's been extremely successful. Since the program started in September 2012, we've reached over 715,000 students as part of this program. That includes about almost 65,000 students coming on our property for our on-site program. That's an educational program that's approved by the state. We're the only company in the state of South Carolina that does outreach programming to every county in the state. I personally, as part of my work scope, visit every county in the state. That's 46 counties, at least twice a year to do outreach programming. So it's been very successful. I won a lot of local, state, and national awards, and it's in the process of being duplicated at other locations across Boeing. So please consider, if you have a Boeing facility in your area, reaching out to your Boeing counterparts in your area to see if they have something that they can offer in your area. I think I was told that most of you guys are from the Maryland, Baltimore area, so the closest Boeing facility to you would be the Philadelphia facility. And we know the people there also. So you can definitely reach out to them about their outreach programming, some of the things that they're doing. And this is basically what we're offering in our programming. Pre-COVID, our on-site career speakers sessions where we'd actually go to the schools, to go to the churches, to go to a community center and do on-site career speaker sessions. We do the same thing by doing STEM activity sessions, using those base offerings that we have at our Future You site and our offerings that we have in our Curiosity Machine site, where we do hands-on STEM activities. That starts kindergarten up to 12th grade. In our on-site educational program, where we bring groups on our property for an hour-and-a-half long educational program that's approved by the state that meets math and science standards for force and motion, 5th grade level through 12th grade level specifically. Those were the programs we had before COVID hit. Since COVID has hit and we don't go physically to locations anymore, we converted everything to virtual. So we have virtual career speaker sessions now. We have virtual STEM activity sessions now, where the educators or the community partners will select the activity. Our team will call into your virtual session, and our engineers, IT professionals, or our volunteers will walk your students through that entire exercise, while at the same time providing information about their careers and answering questions like that. In all of our virtual sessions, we always have a nice, friendly, competitive component on the back end, where we ask the students questions to reinforce what they've learned during their sessions and give them Boeing swag and Boeing prizes. Just like we're going to do it with you guys in a few minutes. We're in the process of developing an online version of our Dream Learners program, the on-site program that has a tour component, has a sit-down STEM, a team building activity component, all built into it. And that we're hoping to roll that out the latter part of this month, the 1st of February. That'll be an online virtual Dream Learners Lite version. And we have a thing called teammate career videos that we post on our YouTube channel, where our teammates, that's what we call our employees, will create 2 to 3 minute videos and talk about their careers and their path to getting into Boeing. That's been very successful since we're in a virtual environment, with a lot of people having virtual career fairs. Since our teammates can't call into the virtual career fairs, we share these videos with them directly with the schools, and the schools can show them or let the kids access them as much as they want. Been very successful. The format that we use, based on feedback we've got from educators, all of our virtual sessions are no more than 1 hour in length. And it's broken down basically with a short presentation. And for the career speaker sessions, you have a mini career panel with between 2 and 3 speakers that will talk about their careers and answer questions. And on the back end, we ask the students questions to reinforce what we've done. For the speaker activity sessions, it's basically the same, except we chop the time up with a 40-minute session in the middle. It's done where we build a STEM activity. The base program we have is where we build paper airplanes. You'd be surprised the number of STEM-based disciplines you can talk about by building paper airplanes. But we do things like build robots, also build bridges and things like that, all activities that are available to be selected from our selection base. These are some things that I always ask people to think about and access. And hopefully Kim can share this with everybody also. The first website there is our Boeing.com website that tells you where you go to find out anything you ever want to know about Boeing. That's our main website. The second link there, jobs.boeing.com, that's where you go to apply for a job. We always get the question, especially from high school students, how do I apply for a job at Boeing? You apply for a job at Boeing by going to our careers website. And this is what I always recommend to educators and to parents and the students. If you think you might be interested in a career at Boeing or a job at an advanced manufacturing company like Boeing, don't wait until your senior year in high school or your senior year in college to start looking for these opportunities. Start as early as middle school by going to our website and seeing what jobs are out there. Anybody can do this. And if you see a job that you might be interested in, then talk to your teachers, talk to your parents or your mentors or whomever you're working with and say, I'm interested in a job like this when I finish school. And they can help guide you toward what classes you might need to take, because on that page will tell you the kind of degrees, the kind of training you would need to have to make sure that once you finish high school or college, you're at least competitive enough to compete for that job by applying with the background and the skill sets you would need. Believe it or not, the only thing that you actually need to apply for a job at Boeing is a high school diploma or a GED. But without those skill sets that we were looking for, you won't be competitive enough to actually get the job. That's the crucial thing when it comes to jobs in advanced manufacturing. It's one thing to have the degree. It's another thing to have the skill sets where you can prove that you have the skill sets based on internships, your work history, and things like that. That will make you competitive. The other things that we have here, those are some of our links to some of our online content for people that are interested in careers at Boeing. Some of our mechanical engineers and things like that, some of our IT professionals. All this is free information that's available that any teacher can share with her students or parents and look at to find out how people got their jobs and kind of their work environment and things like that. One of the things that we also developed in Boeing in South Carolina, we decided to highlight STEM-based disciplines that kids plan to go to in college by creating a thing called STEM Signing Day. Just like athletes in high school have signing days where they sign and to go to colleges to play football, basketball, whatever, we do that in South Carolina for kids that are interested in going to STEM-based disciplines. So if you're planning on attending a college and apply for a 2-year or 4-year STEM-based degree, you can apply to be part of this program. We select 2 students from every county in the state, and the students that are selected are brought to the state capitol to meet with the governor and meet with the South Carolina Department of Commerce and the South Carolina Department of Education leadership, along with our Boeing leadership team and university presidents. We wine and dine them, give them a nice certificate on TV, give them a whole day to hopefully encourage them to stay in those fields. Since we started this program 3 years ago, every student that's been through that program has got accepted into that, has gotten an internship with one of the companies in the state of South Carolina as their freshman year. So this would have been the 3rd year we would have done that. Oh, this will be the 3rd year, I'm sorry. And it will be done virtually like we did it last year. It was done virtually. The year before that, when we initially started, everything was done in person. A very good program that helped to motivate the young people in the state and in the community. Now, 1 or 2 other things I want to make sure you guys understand about our company and what we're trying to do. And it's very timely that we're doing this. When we first came to South Carolina in 2009, one of the challenges that Boeing faced, like so many other advanced manufacturing companies, was how do we get enough employees from the region to staff up to do the work that we need? And how do we get a very diverse and inclusive population to make sure that everybody has an opportunity to compete for some of these opportunities that we have coming to this area? When we came to South Carolina, we initially did not understand how far behind some of the communities were when it came to getting their students prepared for opportunities. We have corridors in South Carolina where students have only seen an airplane on TV. We have corridors in South Carolina where when we bring students to our facility, they've never been to a location that had a building that was more than one story, so they're afraid to ride the elevator. We have to walk them up the stairs to our floor where we have our event on the stairs because they're afraid to ride the elevator because they've never been on an elevator. So when you have that kind of demographic shifts in a state, there's a huge opportunity for companies like ours to invest in that community to help bring the students up to a point where they can be competitive enough by the time they get through high school to compete for our jobs. If not, we're doing ourselves a disservice. So our programming is designed to do things like that. We also have high school internship and apprenticeship programs we developed in South Carolina, where after your junior year in high school, you can apply for a job at Boeing. We will bring you in, and we actually will give you a real job while you're in school, where you work right alongside our engineers, our IT professionals, and things like that. We don't allow students to build our airplane for liability reasons, but you can have jobs in those other areas. And that's been a great opportunity for us to open those opportunities up to students in the area. So that's just like a college internship, but it starts in high school. And it's been very, very successful. Quite a few of those students have come in their junior year in high school, and by the time they finish their senior year and graduating, some of them have walked into Boeing right out of high school, and others have gone into college and come back a year later as our interns. So we're very proud of that programs like that are very unique to what we're doing in South Carolina. Now, one of the things that we also do, we have slides like these. When our teammates go and visit schools and things like that, we ask them all to create little pages like this. We call one page Meet Our Teammates or diversity slides, and they can share things about their history and show the diversity of a company like Boeing. The young lady that you see right here, she's an Air Force, a former Air Force pilot, now works for Boeing. She was the first female pilot who was a mother who flew our brand new test planes. In the bottom right-hand corner, the T-7, you notice the red tails on that plane. That's an homage to the Tuskegee Airmen. She is a very nice young lady, grew up on a farm in Wisconsin. Went to the Air Force Academy, almost flunked out, but she stuck with it and became a fighter pilot. That's one of our teammates. This young man right here, South Carolina State graduate, one of the few engineers from that corridor that's born and raised in South Carolina. Has been a huge advocate for giving back to the community. One of our, what I call super volunteers, to go back to the community and try to help. This young lady right here, she's a Native American from the Oklahoma area. She said she grew up on a reservation her entire life, but now she's has a doctorate. Well, I wanted to show you guys that just to show you some of the diversity at our company.
So we have a number of questions. How, if a teacher was interested in getting a visit to a classroom virtually, how would they do so?
That depends on what regions you're in right now. I can speak to the ones that are in South Carolina region, but if the majority of the students here in the Baltimore, Maryland region, that would fall upon our Northeastern region set. So what I would say, they can email me or Mike, and we could put them in contact with our representatives in that area, and they would respond to that question. So you have my information that you can share with everybody, right, Kim?
I will. Yep, I do.
And they can just email me directly, and I will get that to our representative for your area.
Wonderful, thank you.
Now, what some of the educators on the phone might want to do, and they might have missed this when I mentioned it, our Future You and Curiosity Machine site. Those sites are open and free to anybody. You can go to those links right now, look at the content, and you can use that content in your classroom right now. Every exercise on that site has step-by-step instructions on how to do the activities. It even has video and parts list and everything. So you can either do it yourself, Or once you email us and we identify the Boeing representatives for your area, you could potentially reach out to them to see if they would have bandwidth to have a Boeing representative help you with that in your classroom. But that's something you can do right now.
Wonderful, thank you. We had a teacher who they asked, I may have missed this because I joined a little late, are there programs for high school students up in like the Maryland, Baltimore region, like the one in South Carolina?
I can't answer that one, but I can make sure to get the person who can answer it. Just have that educator email me, and I will put her in contact with him in contact with the right person.
Okay. Yeah, and I should probably just email you about that, so I can just share that information with the teachers.
Yes, that and from this standpoint, that information and the information about Future You and the Curiosity Machine are two of the most important things on this call, and the links to our Boeing.com and Boeing job sites were probably the most crucial information from this presentation for the students, for the teachers here.
Absolutely.
Now, if you're ever in the South Carolina area, give us a call. We love to invite you to come to our facility. We love teachers, we love educators, because without educators, none of us will be here. My mom was a retired teacher, so I love teachers. Now, let me close by saying this, guys. I love my teachers. I just adore my teachers. I think everybody always forgets that if it wasn't for teachers, none of us would probably be where we are. And I think as a country, we found out how important teachers are with what we're doing with COVID. So please don't give up on our students, especially the ones that don't get certain opportunities. We have so many students that if they just get the opportunity and get the right person to push them a little bit, it can change their lives.
Support from companies like Boeing, and especially Boeing, allow us to bring you these events and resources for free. So anyways, wanted to make sure I spent a moment in thanking Boeing for their support.